Welcome to Women on Men, where we explore modern dating through the eyes of women. Today's topic is dating app fatigue. We're going to discuss why finding love currently feels like a second full-time job, the psychology of the swipe, and if it's possible to find connection in the algorithm. My guest today is Hailey Ferretti. She's a skincare specialist based in New Orleans. She's passionate about social justice, advocacy, and discussion about the human condition. Welcome, Hailey.
Hello, hello. Happy to
Thank you
be
for
here.
joining me.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me.
First came across your TikTok. You post really funny content. You post political content. Your channel is just like a place where I feel like you just showcase all that you are. What made you first start a TikTok?
I actually had it for years. I think I downloaded it initially at the start of the pandemic back in 2020 out of just pure boredom. I didn't have anything to do. So I downloaded TikTok, and like for the longest time, for years, I mostly just watched other people and watched other videos on TikTok and followed people. I didn't really make stuff. And then I guess like within like the last 2 years, maybe I started posting more just about like how I felt about things and talked about like issues that were important to me. And for whatever reason, it resonated with people. And like just within the last year, my following on there has really just like, to me, in my opinion, blown up. It's a lot of people to me.
It is. I mean,
yeah.
I think to anybody, you should be proud of that. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. So as much as like social media can be a bit of a mind pit of like kind of sticking your head in the sand, I do appreciate like how many people I've met on there and like how many like people I've met who just share the same values as I do, having like some really amazing conversations, and then like just getting opportunities to meet like people like you and do stuff like this is so cool.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
So we're going to get into the topic of dating apps and just the current dating market. Just so I know, what's your current relationship status?
I am single. I've been single for a while.
How long is a while?
I guess my last like actual relationship would have been roughly 3 years ago. And I've dated a few people here and there since then, but nothing ever turned into anything like serious. So my last serious relationship was a few years ago.
Was that in New Orleans?
No, it was someone I was dating sort of long distance, and it just, for various reasons did not work out. We just had very different visions for how our life was going to look, and we figured out that we were pretty different people, I think.
So that was 3 years ago since you guys were in the relationship. How long were you in the relationship for?
That one was like maybe a year.
Okay.
That was my last serious.
What is your longest relationship?
My longest relationship was probably about 3 to 3.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That would have been around my mid-20s.
Okay.
So that was my longest one.
Okay. And the dating around that you've done more recently, what's it been like in your experience?
I will say in the last couple of years, I haven't dated a ton. I do go on dates every now and then, but I honestly find like the dating apps to be, I don't know, it's just so much of it feels like you're so far removed from other people. You feel so disposable to a certain degree. So I don't like having to meet people through dating apps, but again, like in 2026 now, it kind of feels like that's also the only way that people are meeting, unfortunately, or by social media, or, people I think do still meet outside of that. But as far as like, if you're looking to date, like that's how everyone sort of does it.
Yeah,
You know?
I think the last stat I looked at, it's about 50-50 on how people are meeting still. Some people still meet in real life, some people still meet in dating apps. Do you have a preference?
Um, I 1000% am open to meeting someone, through a dating app or online, and like that taking off and turning into something fulfilling. That I'm so open to it. But for me personally, it has to feel like something natural and organic. Like I'm not the type of person that like can meet someone and say, oh, okay, this person checks all of my boxes that, I would like to see in another person. Let me just make this work with them. Like, that's just not how I function. I don't think a lot of people function that way either.
No, I don't think so either. What are you looking for in a guy? Like let's start with like physical. What attracts you to a man? Do you have minimum height requirements, things like that?
Um, so honestly, most of the men I have dated have been taller than me. I'm 5'2" ish, around there. So it doesn't take a lot to be taller than me. Um, but I feel like the guys that I've dated have been on the taller side, like around like 5'10" to 6'2" ish. I've also dated a guy who was like 6'6". He was like a rugby player.
My goodness.
um, so yeah, I feel like they tend to be on the taller side, but I don't feel like I intentionally seek out tall men. It just maybe subconsciously I do, and I just don't realize it.
What else about the physical characteristics draw you
Physical
in?
characteristics. As far as like having a type, I've never really been one to have a strict type about physically who I'm attracted to. Um, I think it's more about personality and I mean, obviously, I, I want to be physically attracted to whoever I'm with. I think like that's just like a duh, you know.
Right.
But as far as like, I can be super attracted to someone physically and then kind of get to know them and then lose all attraction for them.
Right.
So it's always kind of been more based around like how I feel when I'm with them, the energy they give off. Are they kind? Are they intelligent? Do they care about things outside of themselves? You know, that kind of thing.
Have you ever like met a guy that you weren't instantly attracted to and then over time attraction grew? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I've met someone that I was not attracted to at
At all,
all.
right.
I have met someone that I was like initially like somewhat attracted to, but like didn't really think much of it. And we were friends for a while, and that slowly actually grew into a relationship. It was actually my like longest relationship that I've ever been in, and probably like my most fulfilling relationship. We initially started off as like just friends, and not that I found him unattractive when we first met. It just wasn't like I wasn't like, starstruck or something like
Right. You
that.
didn't
It's
instantly feel like making him like a partner or like a love
right.
connection or
I
anything like
didn't
that.
meet him and I was like, you're going to be my boyfriend.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And what was it about him that drew you in?
He was very in touch with his emotions and very like, super in tune with himself. And he was actually interested in getting to know me and who I am and like on a deeper level. And he and I could have extremely deep conversations about things and we could talk to each other about anything, good and bad things. So I think that that's what made that relationship so fulfilling was that we were so connected emotionally.
What do you think caused that relationship to end, if you don't mind sharing?
We were he was having difficulties in his personal life outside of our relationship. That I'm not going to go into too much
Sure.
detail about because that's his private
Of course.
information. But it just and we stayed together. I think I tried to stick it out with him um, a bit longer than maybe I should have. But I loved him, and I I knew that like what we had was special. And so when you know that you have something special, it can be hard to like let go of, even if that's the best thing sometimes. And I think at the time it was the best thing. And he and I are actually still like, I'm still super proud of like how far he's come. Like we still stay in contact every like from time to time. And he's doing really well and he just got engaged and
Nice.
I'm so happy for him.
Good.
So even though like we didn't stay together,
Sure.
there's just still like a lot of like love and admiration for each other.
So outside of the physical characteristics, which you tend to lean on the taller side, but you're saying it's not necessarily like a conscious decision. Um,
Yeah.
and you're looking for kindness, sense of humor, emotional intelligence, things like that. What about things like income or career? Are there minimum requirements or things you look for?
No, I don't have like I don't have like requirements as far as that goes. I think that uh, I think having a source of income is important. I think
Sure.
that being able to support yourself and, not have to rely on other people to get you by is a good thing. As far as like how much they make or even like what they do is way less important to me. I mean, I think it's just, for me specifically, I think just having a way to like support yourself and make your way in the world. That's really all that I care about.
So just a quick hypothetical: if a guy was making 60 to 70,000, you would still date him if he had met everything else?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, you mentioned that sometimes you'll be physically attracted to somebody and then lose attraction. What are the things that they do that make you instantly say, never mind?
I mean, I guess people call these icks now. I think emotional immaturity is a big thing for me. Um, I feel like as soon as I pick up on like a man's inability to like be in touch with his own emotions and other people's emotions, I instantly lose attraction for them. And I think that, unfortunately, I think that's a big problem for a lot of men. I think it kind of contributes to what everyone's calling like the male loneliness epidemic right now.
Yeah, that's my suspicion and theory on that is women are making their own money. They don't necessarily rely on men for resources anymore or income or anything like that. So they're looking for someone in their life that's going to be a good partner and someone they actually just want to be around and want to enjoy themselves with and they feel safe around. And so guys that I talk to, guys that I coach, guys that I'm trying to get out of red pill, they believe it's still just income, height, looks, and it's basically that. And they're frustrated because they're realizing that that isn't enough and they're not working on the things that I think make a good long-term relationship, which includes managing your own emotions and understanding the emotions of your partner.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think, yeah, we still have a large population of men who are very caught up in the idea that, oh, women want someone who makes a lot of money and who's going to be able to financially support them. And the thing is like, we've just reached a point in society where women don't like physically need men.
Right.
Women can like survive on their own without the need for a partner. And so that becomes, well, if I'm going to share my time with someone, I want it to be with someone that I literally just enjoy being with and enjoy being around. And I feel like I can talk to them and I don't feel like I'm just relying on this person for the ability to survive. And I just think it's so unfortunate and so sad that like we've reached a point where women are saying, okay, I don't care about your money. I don't care about that. I just want you to be cool. And I just want to date you for your personality and like how much you care about others. And like men turn after turn are continuing to fail at that. Unfortunately,
And they,
and not all men, but
sure.
obviously a big enough portion of them.
And they continue, especially the younger generation, because those are the ones that are struggling. Because men under
Yes.
30, I think like 63% of them are single, which is the largest portion of single men we've seen in a generation. So something's going
Mhm.
on. I don't believe it's that, like a lot of the guys I talk to, especially the young guys, they'll say things like, well, the older generation, they have money. That's why women date the older generation. And I'm like, okay, I was dating in college without money. A lot of
Right.
people, I was dating in high school without money. Like eventually in your life, when you get older, your career should be established. You should be getting things going, and women are looking for something like that. But I think when you're younger, that isn't true by any measure. I don't remember any past girlfriend worrying about my income or anything like that. Like as I got older, yeah, that my career came up and things like that. But when I was younger, women didn't care about that. So I don't really believe that it's because it's a money thing. I really do believe it's like these kids grew up online. They've been told the complete wrong information, and
Mhm.
they're treating women terribly for the most part.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I also think that there's a socialization aspect of that. And I think you touched on that with like them growing up online. Um, I think that, and this is something I've just noticed in my own experience of men when they're being socialized, they're mainly being boys, they're being socialized how to like socialize with other boys. And I actually heard a psychologist talk about this online at one point, and it really resonated with me that men are being like socialized as young boys to interact with each other shoulder to shoulder,
Mhm.
where they're looking at something, they're watching an activity, a sports game, a video game, something that they can focus their attention on and bond over that. Whereas women, as girls, socialize themselves to be face to face and literally ask them questions about each other.
Right.
And so when you try to put people like that who have been socialized so differently and make them go on a date together, I think we get sort of what we're dealing with now, where men don't know how to sit and have a conversation with a woman and ask her about herself, like how you became who you are, what was your past like, how did you grow up, your interests, your hobbies, that kind of stuff. Because you can sit and talk about current events with anybody, but like if you're going to go on a date with someone, you need to be able to talk about each other and ask someone about themselves. And I see that so much on just dates, even that I've been on within the last year or two with grown men, where they struggle to, I feel like I'm doing a lot of the labor of trying to hold a conversation, get to know each other, because I feel like there is a big disconnect between men being able to hold a conversation where we're not talking about a thing, we're talking about each other and getting to know each other.
Yeah, I think you're nailing it into to a certain degree, because I'm guilty of that too. Like I have my guy friends, we only hang out for doing an activity. Like it's like, hey, do you want to check out this movie? Or hey, I'm getting online. You want to
And
play
that's
some
fine.
games? For sure. But
Yeah.
it wasn't until my wife has a big group of girlfriends, and they often, sometimes they live in Austin, Texas. They come, they visit, and when I get to be a part of their group, I get to hear their conversations, and I'm like, this is totally different than how guys hang out. And
Yeah.
the things they ask each other really personal hypotheticals, and they play these like get to know each other kind of things. And it's like,
Mhm.
guys don't do that. Like they don't do that. And I don't think, like you said, when they're on dates, it doesn't feel like they're trying to really get to know you on that level. And
Mhm.
a lot of guys don't know what questions to ask or how to have the banter. That's what you see. So you go on a date, the guy sits in front of you, wherever you guys are, dinner, bar, wherever, and he's just kind of dead faced, or what is he doing?
No, it's not. It's not like they're just sitting there silently. Like we will talk, but it's typically about like a lot of times I feel like I'm the one asking questions about them, like trying to get to know them. And there's not so much of those questions like a lot of times you sort of play this game when you're with someone of like, I'm going to ask you this question.
You expect
Assumably,
you're
you're
gonna
going to
ask it
ask me
back.
that same or similar question back. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. It
Yeah.
kind of just moves into a conversation about whatever they want to talk about. Yeah, and I just think that I think that there is a disconnect there, unfortunately, and I think that kind of maybe is at the heart of it, is that men and women are just being socialized differently, to the point where like they're struggling to connect with each other, when we try to like bring them together and see if they can connect, because there's nothing wrong with men doing an activity
Sure.
together and bonding that way. But I can't tell you how many times I have heard men say that some of the men that they consider their best friends, they don't know hardly any intimate details about them. And I just think that that's so sad.
It's so true, and I consider myself very emotionally intelligent, in touch with my emotions. I go to therapy, I read a lot of self-help books. I'm very aware of my internal
Yeah, you can
emotions.
tell.
But I'm still, when I'm with my guy friends, like they'll tell me something, and I'll be empathetic. I'll be an empathetic ear, but then I'll tell my wife like, oh, my buddy said this, and she'll be like, well, did he? And she'll ask a follow up, and I'll be like, I didn't ask.
I
I
didn't
didn't
ask.
ask.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's, I'm still trying to do the best I can for sure, but there is just a difference there. And it's something that I think you're absolutely right. And again, I consider myself one of the guys who really takes his emotions seriously. And I still fall short sometimes, in my opinion, of where I think I
Of
should
course.
be. So yeah, I think a lot of guys, if they're not even aware of putting in that kind of effort, then yeah, they're absolutely going to fall short. So
Yeah.
let's get into the main topic, since we're already talking about your past few dates. So are you mostly meeting guys on dating apps at the moment?
I haven't dated a lot in the last year.
Right.
So at the moment, I don't really, I would say earlier in this year, I did actually, a guy that I went on several dates with at the beginning of the year, he and I met off the apps through a speed dating situation, which I had never done before. My manager that I work with, she and I are around the same age, and she was like, "Hey, have you heard about this speed dating thing that goes on in New Orleans?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've heard about it. I'm curious. I've never been." She was like, "Well, I'm going to go to it tomorrow night if you want to come and just check it out, and like we can kind of like, be each other's like wing person." And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And so I went to check it out, and it was actually really fun, honestly. Like, it was a cool experience. Like, it was very, like, you only spend like maybe 3 to 5 minutes with each person, just having like a quick conversation, and then you move on to the next person. And even if like you don't leave, like having found like the love of your life, you still like meet people and get to know the people that live around you and live in your city, and like you network or do whatever is important to you. So it was a cool experience. And I met a guy through that, and he and I went on several dates that, he was a cool guy. We just didn't end up working out. We just weren't super compatible, I think, in the end. But yeah, that was the last way that I met someone and dated them.
So that was about a year ago, and you haven't gone back to that event?
I haven't gone back to the event, not because like I'm avoiding it by any means. I have like connected a little bit with someone that I used to date a few years ago. This was months back. And we kind of hung out like just as friends. Weren't dating each other or anything like that. And we're still like just friends. And other than that, no, I haven't been really dating at all, because in the second half of this year, I moved and I was just very preoccupied with like moving and getting my place all together, and just focused on other things, honestly. So I haven't really been dating much at all lately.
All right. Do you have apps downloaded currently?
I have Raya, but I think I deactivated it. I think I deactivated a few weeks ago.
Is that your preferred app when you are on the apps?
It's not, because what I don't like about Raya is like no one actually really talks to each other on there. It's kind of an app for people who are just interested in seeing like the quote unquote successful people around your age, around the country, around the world, because it's like a global app. So like you do see people from all over the world. And it's really just for like people to like, I think, lurk on each other and see who's out there. But in my experience, and then like I have another friend who was on it as well, it was kind of her same experience of like, people don't actually really talk to each other that much on Raya. I think it's a bit more for like just seeing like, I think people just, honestly, a lot of people have it just to see like what celebrities are on.
That's fun. Did you ever meet a guy on it?
I did talk to a few guys on there, but no, I never dated a guy that I met on Raya. I think that at one point I had Hinge. I don't think I have it anymore. If I do, I haven't looked at it in a while. Hinge, I think what happens is with the dating apps is that I, for the most part, don't enjoy it. But I do reach points where I'm like, I'm kind of lonely. And so I'll like re-download them and end up like maybe talking to someone a little bit. But because I don't honestly enjoy like getting to know someone through the apps, like I will 1000%, I'm one of those people who will honestly forget about the app like mid conversation. And then like a week or 2 weeks will go by and I'll go back to the app and say, oh, I just left this person in the middle of a conversation because I quite frankly just forgot to check it.
And that happens, I'm sure, so often. And like people feel like they're being ghosted, or people feel like.
Right. I think that I guess you could say that I am guilty of that. But I will say anyone that I've actually met physically, I've never ghosted them. I think that that's not cool. I would never do that. But I do think that I am guilty of just being distracted with other things in my life or giving my attention to something else and just completely forgetting about the app. And it's a lot of time, it's not anything personal with the other person that I'm talking to. It's just when you don't necessarily like getting to know people that way, it's very easy to find other things to do that like you do enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think I may have Hinge downloaded right now. I don't check it very much.
So like day to day, you're not thinking I should be swiping, and that's just not an
Mhm.
activity you spend a lot of time on.
I don't know. Uh,
But you don't
and it's
enjoy
not
it too. So I mean, that's a big part of it.
right. And the thing is like, I would love to. It's not that like I'm just this single woman that doesn't want to be with anyone. That's like
Yeah, I don't get that vibe.
anti dating. I would love to meet someone and like have a partner. It's just so much of the apps feel like it has commodified dating into people as like products, where it feels so much of like a presentation of what someone could be or a presentation of something rather than what someone actually is. You
Right.
can only get so much
Yeah.
through an app. And I just feel like it's like capitalism fully at play with these dating apps of like, well, here's some people you might like, but if you upgrade your
Right.
subscription, you can see even better
It's
people.
crazy. Guys are so desperate. I'll say guys specifically because they're the ones mostly paying, I'm pretty sure. And they also outnumber women on the apps. I personally, so I had some experience with apps prior to my wife. I started with like the OK Cupids and the Matches of the world when I was younger.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I went all the way to, Tinder and Hinge and Bumble. Hinge was
Mhm.
tight. I got to say, I met some quality women on Hinge.
I mean, I guess I would say out of all the apps, it's maybe the best one.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I never really questioned it, but it seems like most people seem to have decent things to say about Hinge compared to the others.
Yeah, I think it's because Hinge, it's a dating app like all the others, but I think it in particular emphasizes like less about like swiping right, swiping left, just based on whether you like someone's photo. Hinge tries to like take a minute to be like, get to know the person a little bit. And like, I think their whole slogan is like, even though I don't believe it,
Right.
that it's designed to be deleted.
Deleted, yeah.
I think I think it probably attracts a certain demographic to that app
Yeah.
that
I think,
is better.
Tinder when I was dating back in the day, it was more known for like short term. It was never really something people were using for like finding your partner. I feel like Hinge kind of became that, and they added like voice features and things like that, which I think is pretty cool because I think hearing someone's voice is probably, a better indicator than a photo and a text bio.
Mhm.
So when you think of getting on the app right now, like if you were like to go back inside and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get on the app," you don't have a good feeling about it. Like it does it. What feelings come up when you pull out your phone and open it up?
I guess I feel a little shallow
I mean, it is a shallow
because
experience.
yeah, I feel, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody has a certain level of shallowness, superficiality to them to a certain degree, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Like everyone, for the most part, cares about being attracted to someone based solely on like physical appearance to a certain extent. But it's just like the app makes that so apparent that like you're just literally flipping through a catalog of faces and like deciding like, am I attracted enough to this one to start a conversation?
Right. Right.
um, so yeah, I think maybe that's why I avoid it. Is that there's just something that's a bit kind of
Icky.
inauthentic
Inauthentic.
about it. Yeah, that it just doesn't. So a lot of you can have. Don't get me wrong. I think people do meet on those apps and fall in love, and it works out for them. I don't think it's normally what happens for most people. Though.
Yeah, I think a lot of people meet on dating apps still, but I don't know. I'd love to understand the ratio of people that, meet in real
Mm-hmm.
life to have long term relationships versus dating app and have long term relationships. I have a
Mm-hmm.
theory that, like, let's say I had met you through a dating app and we were chatting, there's a good chance you might forget, ghost, etc. Right? Like, that's part of how dating apps are. But if I had
Mm-hmm.
met you or someone at a bar in real life, had a conversation, laughed a little bit, got a phone number, sent a text, that the ghosting is less likely in that
Yes.
scenario because there's actually a connection versus
Yeah.
through an app, you're just looking at photos and a bio, and maybe a little banter might get you there. But
Yes.
I personally think there's less ghosting in real life because you actually kind of went on a first date in some ways.
Oh, 1000%. Because when you meet someone, it humanizes them. I
Yeah,
think that that's what my biggest issue with the apps are is that so much of it feels like you're losing a bit of that realness to it,
right.
sort of that like that this person is actually real, that like when you meet them in person, it's so much more just like, okay, this person like actually exists, has a whole life outside of me. And the apps make it seem so much more like, and I hate to say it, but like people as products,
Yeah.
like very disposable.
Yeah, I heard somebody call it people shopping, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
think
crazy
that's
feeling.
kind of how I feel about it, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's like you're just shopping. It's like Amazon, like you're just shopping for your partner.
So if, let's say Congress passes a law, dating apps are outlawed, how would you meet people? How do you think you'd go about it?
Thankfully, I think I still live in a city where going out and meeting people is actually super normal and kind of expected in the city I live in. Like New Orleans is a very community friendly place. Like you can go out to a bar by yourself and meet a group of people and like it just take off from there. Like a few weeks ago, a new bar opened up in my neighborhood and I really wanted to check it out. So I was like, after work, I'm going to stop by and just have a drink, check it out, and then head home. But I get there and I'm having my drink, and like halfway through, this girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, are you here by yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "You mind if I join you?" And I was like, "Sure." And like she and I just sat together and had a conversation. Then some of her coworkers showed up, and then they all invited me out to dinner at this hotel, and I ended up going to like this private party dinner with them. They ended up offering me a job. Like it's just one of those cities where like you can literally just go out by yourself and meet people and like you don't know where you'll wind up. And that is one thing I will say about it's different because I lived in New York City and I don't feel like anything like that ever happened to me living there.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of a common thing here.
Interesting. So are you going to take the job? That's the first question.
I'm not going to take the job. It's a job that I would have done and did do back in like my early 20s. It's more of like I worked for many years as a paralegal. Actually did that while I was living in New York. And it would be a job going back to that. And it's just
gotcha.
not,
Okay.
yeah, I'm just not trying to
Yeah.
segue back into that field.
Gotcha.
But they were super cool and nice and interesting people. So I think that maybe a lot of people are intimidated by like going out and going to public places alone. But honestly, I feel like once you can get over that and just do it, especially if you live in a city where that's much more like community oriented, like the one that I live in, you'll realize that it's not that scary and you'll actually have really cool and fun, unique experiences if you just let yourself.
Do you have a preferred place where you like to meet men? Like, is it bars or location?
As far as like a preferred place, I don't know. I would say the majority of times when I have met men, it has been at bars because I think that at a bar, like, you're having a drink, you're feeling more relaxed, you're less on your guard. So it's easier to just start chatting with someone that you don't know. I attend like a yoga class and I've met men there. Not specifically like we ended up dating, but like it is like a way to like meet people. So yeah, I guess I would say that 9 times out of 10, it's been like at a bar. Yeah.
Where a lot of people meet. Is there a way that men have approached you that seems to work for you?
Seems to work for me. Can you give me like an example?
Well, like, how do guys approach you in a romantic fashion in public, like at a bar or even at yoga? Like, how are these guys talking to you to start the conversation, and what draws you in to maybe give them your social media or phone number?
I guess what it would be is I feel like guys will just strike up a conversation with you sometimes. Uh, just based on like maybe something that's going on around you, like, hey, do you see what's happening or something like that, like some sort of segue into a conversation, and then you just end up chatting with each other. To be completely honest with you, though, I don't feel like I get approached a lot by men, like just trying to talk to me out of the blue. I feel like when I do, it's because we're sitting at a bar having drinks, or I'm with a group of people and they're with a group of people, and that group of people have started like talking with each other, and then like we kind of slowly end up in a conversation about whatever's going on around us. But to be honest, I don't get approached a lot. to be honest with you.
Do you feel like that's gone down as you've like as time has progressed, or do you feel like it's always been that way?
I think maybe it's becoming more common. Maybe when I was younger, I think I got approached more, and I don't know if that has to do with like me aging or men aging, or I do think that, I'm in my 30s now, and there are just, even though it's way more common to be single in your 30s now, there is still a good large group of people in their 30s who have gotten married and they're not out trying to like meet people.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, it definitely has become less of a thing as
I
I've
don't
gotten
think it's your
older.
age. First off, I don't think you necessarily look your age, but on top of that, I think I'm hearing it from young women. Like young women say they
Really,
don't get approached. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I think it's a thing. I think it's the conversation we were having earlier about like men just not really knowing how to talk with women.
yeah.
I think it's becoming a bigger issue.
Yeah, I definitely think you nailed it with what I think is the most successful approach. It's not necessarily like directly like, "Hey, you're beautiful. Let's go on a date." It's more like, "Hey, what did you order? Because I don't know what to pick." And it's just a very casual
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Like, I think anybody will be a little bit like intimidated if you just come up to them and you're like, hey, I want to get to know you.
Yeah,
Which is, of course, like what you want, but I can see how that could be like intimidating. So just finding like small things that like maybe you have in common, or maybe you're watching something and like you want to talk to each other about it. Like, I think that that's kind of the easier way to sort of segue into a conversation with someone than just because I think men maybe a lot of times think that that's what they have to do is like, I don't know how to approach women. I don't know how to approach a woman and just say, hey, I want to take you out on a date.
yeah.
I think men don't want to do that. And I don't think a lot of women want to be approached that way either. It can be a little, abrasive
Yeah.
when you don't know anything about a person.
Yeah, I do encourage men to be direct with coming up to a woman and trying to talk to her, um,
Sure.
and seeing if the conversation goes in a way that one, do you like her? Two, does she seem to like you? And then
Mhm.
ask for phone number, social media. What do
Yeah.
you prefer to give out, by the way?
My number, social media, probably I would say my social media, um, particularly if it's someone that I just met and like we've had a little conversation, but I don't know a lot about them. Um, I'll give them my social media. And then, like, if we talk more from there, I'll give them my phone number. But I would say, like, I don't just give my phone number out to, in general, I don't give my phone number out.
Because I know you mentioned you don't really like talking through apps. So let's say a guy gets your
Mhm.
social media. Do you want him to just start small talk with you, or would you rather him basically start pushing for like a date at that point?
I don't really have a preference.
Okay.
I guess it just comes down to the energy and the vibe of that person. And like, if I feel like whatever interaction we had that led to us, me giving them my number, my social media, um, if I felt like that was interesting enough, then I would be like, if they wanted to just say, hey, you want to go have a drink this Saturday or something, I would be open to that too. Like, I don't think that there has to, personally for me, there doesn't have to be a ton of small talk if we've already met in
Right.
person. But I will say, if it's somebody that I haven't talked at all with, like say if it's on a dating app or something and we haven't spoken at all, for someone to just right out of the gate say, hey, let's meet at such and such and go on a date, that is a little where I'm like, okay, we haven't even taken a moment to sort of see if this is something that I want to like meet up and pursue. So like maybe let's have like a day or two of chatting and then do that. It's different. It's different if you haven't met them at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big believer in getting the person in front of me in a chair as soon as I can, like because
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't like texting.
And I mean, who wants to waste their time
Yeah.
texting a lot with somebody if it's not going to go anywhere?
Yeah, and I feel like guys with decent personalities and things that they can showcase, it's like through text I'm gonna nerf myself through text, but if I can get somebody in front of me, it's like that's where I can shine, and
Right.
I want them
Well, so much can be misconstrued,
for
you know?
sure. Yeah. So I'm always curious about that because I think, different things work for different people. Um, and I think I asked you this, but you do prefer meeting people in person versus dating apps.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I I feel like I just don't enjoy the dating apps for the most part. I don't get me wrong. I've met some very like nice and interesting people
Hmm.
through the dating apps before, but I don't think they're incredibly successful. As far as like, I think that if you want to meet somebody who just checks all your boxes and that's all you care about, then I bet the app is great for you. You know,
Yeah.
but I think that most people are looking for like a real connection with someone, and you can really only find out if you have that with someone if you're meeting face to face.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to the next segment. This is a new one, so you're kind of the first one to do it, but I think it's something I've been wanting to try. So it's
Okay.
called green flag or red pill. So I will give you a scenario or a behavior that men exhibit, and you decide if it's a healthy green flag or does it sound like more like red pill toxic crap. Okay,
Let's
so
do
the
it.
first one is he gets angry when other men look at you, claiming he's being protective. And this can go either way.
Um,
I'm not trying, like, I think, that's why I want to make it a little bit gray to see if there's some people might say that's cool. Some people are like,
So, okay, the scenario is he gets angry if another man looks at me.
yeah.
Is that it?
Hmm.
I think anger is kind of crazy. To get angry about something like that is a little wild. I think that like being like slightly jealous is fine. I think that that's normal. Honestly, I think people are human, get jealous of stuff like that. I think for a man to get outwardly angry or hold resentment about it is not cool.
He admits on an early date that he goes to therapy.
Green flag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He cries in front of you
1000.
during a sad movie or when talking about a difficult past experience.
Green flag.
He orders your dinner for you without asking because he thinks he's being confident.
Okay, so that's never happened to me. I will say that, say I'm like going on a date with someone and it's a guy, like say it's his favorite restaurant and he's been there before, and if he was just to say like, hey, I really feel like you're gonna love this and this, is it cool if I order that for you? I would be totally open to it. But for a guy to just like assume and like not even ask or say
Yeah.
anything like that,
Like she'll have the gumbo.
no.
Like, excuse me.
No, like I'd be like, will I? Is that what I'm having?
Yeah, that
No,
one's always baffled me because I'm like, I
do men do that? Is that a thing?
I think there's a lot of like toxic male guys that will tell guys, encourage men to order for the woman, even
To
a
like take
drink.
the lead, take the
Yeah,
initiative?
and I think there's ways to do that without ordering something someone might not like. I think there are ways to do that
Yeah,
without being like, you're stuck with this drink because I'm paying for it. It's like that's wild.
yeah, I think that that's super weird. I think I think that there's a way maybe to go about it of being like, I love this, and I think that you would love that, and if you just can trust me, and if you don't like it, we can send it back. But like,
Exactly.
I think that could actually
That's
be a
cool.
cool
I think that's
experience.
cool. Yeah.
But just like assuming something
Yeah.
and like trying to like have some sort of weird upper hand is nah,
Yeah.
not
I
cool.
wouldn't. Um,
Yeah.
he comments that you should focus less on your career because he wants you to stay at home.
I think that's weird. I think that's not cool. I think most women of this day and age would say that. I think I don't buy into like designated roles in partnerships. I think that roles within a partnership can be fluid, and one person can sort of have the role of this, and the other person have the role of that, and they can interchange depending on whatever life is throwing at them at the time. And like to be completely stringent to certain roles within a relationship, I think is incredibly limiting. And I just think that it's more about having a partnership and being a team and doing whatever you need to do that's best for the relationship at that time is the most important thing. If you're adhering to like roles and trying to um, make sure you're fulfilling an idea of what you think the relationship will look like rather than what's actually best for it, I think you're going to find yourself in a lot of issues.
I agree. I've tried to build my relationships as partnerships, and I would never encourage my partner to not work if she didn't want to, because to me, I've also seen like boomers who were in relationships where the women never went to college, never had a career, never
Right.
had any sort of work,
It's a
and
generational
yeah,
thing.
and they're beholden to whatever their husband wants. And should
Hmm.
the husband decide to leave, or should the relationship end, you're basically going to rely on alimony. Like there's almost like, it's too late to, not necessarily too late, but it's very difficult to then establish a career in your 50s or your 60s.
Yes, 1000%. I mean, I think that it's now more important than ever, unless you're just coming from like generational wealth and it's not something that you actually have to worry about in that sense. I think for the most part, like you never know what life is going to throw at you. So you have to always be able to care for yourself individually. So I don't, let me just say, I don't think that there's anything wrong. And I think it's totally cool if you decide to get married and the woman says, I want to focus on having kids and raising my family and I don't want to work while I do that. I think go for it. I think
Absolutely.
that I get that 1000%.
Same.
I get that you want to raise your kids and do a good job. But I also think that it's important to say the day comes where that's not a possibility, that you can still stand on your own 2 feet as a woman. And I mean, vice versa for men as well. Like you need to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And, most houses now are dual income. It's
Hmm.
becoming more and more that women are the breadwinner in a lot of relationships. And I think a lot of guys struggle with that. My wife has made more money than me at times. I made more money than her at times. We've kind of switched back and forth, but I've never cared if my partner makes more money than me. Like it just, to me, it's like,
Hmm.
cool. Now we're living better. Now we're all doing good.
Right.
Like
Like
we're in this together. That's a win for us. That's how I always see
literally,
it.
yes.
Um,
I think that's how you need to be looking at it. I think that so many men have built their egos around what they think their lives are supposed to look like, um, or what their fathers or their grandfathers' lives look like, and it's just not the same world that we live in
Not in this
anymore.
economy.
No,
No, it's in
definitely
2026.
not.
No, in 2026, with everything, like we gotta do this together mostly. Like the idea, I don't
Yeah, I
even.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think specifically, especially right now with how hard it is and inflation the way that it is right now, I think it's incredibly hard for anyone in the relationship to not be bringing in some sort of income. If you can do it and make it work and survive, excellent. But I feel like it's really rare right now.
Let me ask a follow up to an earlier question. Now that we're talking about this, you had mentioned that you don't have necessarily a strict income threshold that a guy needs to meet, but if he made less than you,
Mhm.
would that change things for you?
No,
No, it wouldn't
no.
matter to you.
I think that it would only change things for me if I felt like, okay, you're struggling to the point like where you can't support yourself at all, and you're maybe having to if it's creating problems for you, it's more like I'm concerned for you
Right.
more than I care about how I might benefit from that.
Right, but their bills are paid. They're not behind it. They're not in debt. All that
Yeah, I
stuff.
think the ability to take care of yourself is attractive.
That's what it matters. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
Um,
don't need to, I don't, a man doesn't necessarily need to be like rolling in it. But if you can take care of yourself, that's attractive.
of course, and I think a lot of guys also don't realize the importance of taking care of like your house and your apartment and things like that too. Like I
Yeah.
had to learn those lessons when I was younger. Like I'd have a
Hmm.
girl over and my cleaning standards and stuff weren't necessarily, probably where they
Right.
needed to be. Those are things that I think a lot of guys also overlook. Just
Right. I
beyond
mean,
that.
and it's not just a guy thing either. I think girls too. Like you reach adulthood and you realize like a lot of the things that didn't matter to you as a kid, like messiness and things like that. It's just part of like growing up. You realize like, actually, I want my home to be clean. I want
Exactly.
things to be neat and in order. It makes me feel good. It's
For
just part
sure.
of maturity, and I think both men and women.
I agree. So that brings us to our last segment, which is called Dear Men. This is your open mic. You can take a moment to speak to the men listening. Give them your best dating advice, whatever you can. The prompt is, what advice would you give men dating in 2026? But you can make it whatever you want to do. If you have a golden nugget of advice for men, the floor is yours.
What would I say to men? I think that if you're a man and you're listening to this, I think you're already probably leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of your peers because it means that you actually care about yourself and others. And, I think that there's a good portion of men out there who they don't know what they're doing and they're not doing anything to help themselves. So I think if you're taking steps to grow as a person, you're already, way ahead of a lot of other guys. So be proud of that. As far as, I think my advice to men is just like how I was saying earlier, how I feel like a lot of men don't know how to get to know women, just like they don't really know how to get to know their peers. And I think men need to be talking to each other more. I think not just when they're going on dates trying to get to know a woman, which I do think that that's important. Men need to be talking to each other more intimately, getting to know them, getting to know who their families are, how they feel about things. Like, it doesn't have to always just be about current events or sports. Like, well, you can have fun doing those things all day long. But I think that if you want to get better at dating women and getting to know women, you need to be getting to know your friends and the other men in your life as well. And I think that honestly, it probably starts there, because I think that this whole male loneliness epidemic, it's a male problem. And so women, as much as, women can fix a lot of things, but they can't fix this. And I think that it's a male problem. So it's going to take the men trying to fix it. And I think it starts with talking to the other men in your life, caring about them, caring about their mental health, having those conversations with each other. And I think if you start there, it'll make it a lot easier for you to care and have conversations like that with the women that you're trying to date.
Bravo. I think that's great advice. I think not only for dating, but just generally for men's loneliness. Like we're lonely, like a lot of guys, we resort to online, we play video games, a lot of the young guys are addicted to corn, all that stuff.
Oh God, yeah. That's a whole other topic that I could get started on.
But then the idea that like your guy friends, which it's great to have fun with, but if you can't get to know your guy friends, what makes you think you're going to be able to get to know a partner that is a complete stranger, that you just met for the first time? I think that's great advice just for general mental health and well-being. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. This has been such a pleasure. You are a delight.
Thank
I
you.
will definitely link to all of your socials in the YouTube video, but let people know where they can find you.
You can find, so I don't have a ton of social media. I try to keep anybody that would like to just follow me. I always direct them to like my TikTok. My @ is Ferretti Mercury. It's my last name, Ferretti Mercury. It's a play on Freddie Mercury because I'm a big queen. So you can find me on TikTok. I do have other social media. I try to kind of reserve that more for like.
I'll just link your TikTok then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend and a great 2026.
You as well. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Women on Men. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, rate, and share the show. Women on Men is produced by Rafael Gomez. Click the links in the description to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Until next time, let's continue the work to bring women and men closer. Well, what you doing now? I can swing by for a bit if you around. We could grab a drink, I got weed by the pound. I could be there in 20, let me know how that sounds. Yeah, I'm on my way, and I'll be there in a hurry. Take a deep breath, I know you love to worry. Fearing for the worst, but you're so wrong. You know it hasn't happened now in so long. Hang tight, I'm on the way, I got the edibles. We could take a load off, feel incredible. When the burdens of the world bring you to your knees, well, at least save a spot for me. Until then, we can